are Generation Z? Generation Z, also known as Zoomers, is a new powerful future of the world. Zoomers were born from 1997 to 2012, following the Millennials, also known as Generation Y, who were born between 81 and 96. In this documentary, we will be exploring people's views and how we live in a world where social media is continuously affecting our new youth. Okay, it's recording.
Generation Z are known for being ethically and racially diverse, as well as being outspoken and innovative, much more compared to other generations.
As a society, we're at a point in mankind that we've never seen before. And that point we've never seen before is that our technology is just growing constantly. Like when I grew up, I had a DS. That was released in early 2000s? And look what I've got now, come here. Alpha generation's growing up with this. What is this? It's an iPhone. That's disgusting. I wish I was part of the Game Boy era. And as everyone says nowadays, I should have been born in the 80s.
I'm born in the wrong generation!
Today we are joined with Bert from the baby boomer generation, and today I will be asking you a few questions about today's Generation Z. So firstly, what do you think of today's generation, 9 to 23-year-olds?
I think they're like any generation, they've just got to find their way. Back in my day, we didn't have social media. We wanted to speak to a friend, we had to get a 2p piece and go to a phone box and make the telephone call. Communication in this generation is, well, you can contact just about anybody. But I do think you don't get out enough. And today we have the likes of Netflix, we have so many TV channels. Entertainment is laid at your doorstep. Whereas in our day we had to go out and find it or make the entertainment. So yeah, there's a lot of differences. But as I said, everybody has to make their own way in the situation they find themselves in.
Do you believe they can make a positive change compared to previous generations?
Of course they can. You've got other things like education. It is so much easier now to be able to educate yourself, especially with the online courses you can do. And there's so much more available. So I think education, everything comes down to education. So if you've got the ability to study from home and then everything's at your fingertips and you can make a big difference in your own life and in other people's lives at the same time.
They are believed to be a lot more demanding compared to any other generation so far. Do you think this is true?
That's a hard one. I think you might be more demanding for wanting the latest iPhone, the latest iPad. Back in our days, they just didn't have anything. Yeah, people are a lot better off today financially, generally. So the likes of a phone is not seen as anything other than everyone should have one.
And would you say social media is a good thing?
Social media can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. For the likes of bullying, you can pick on someone and people will follow like sheep, and you make a bad comment, then people can attack you, and even if it's right, it's good if it's used correctly.
Thank you for joining us today, and that will be it.
Thank you.
Here today we are in Poole at Costa, as you can see, getting the last of our 50p coffees. Upton is in Poole. Here we are looking at why Generation Z, one of the most educated generations to date, meaning we have a great amount of power compared to other generations. Social media is probably now the best way of spreading awareness and educating people from all over the world. We can see in the news, like the COVID-19 pandemic, we can see in India that all of their national issues, as well as the ones here in the UK, we've been constantly hearing updates on the lockdowns, on the spread of cases, and when we're going to go back to normality. A big global issue to look at the moment is the environment and the climate crisis, and as young people we have a great deal to say, as this is part of our future. A lot of Generation Z members that we know would say they know a great deal about the climate crisis through the movements on social media and the organisation. We're going to be looking at the environment and how social media helps spread awareness for global warming and how our human activity accelerates the speed of global warming and where we're at. We are in a climate crisis and social media is a great way of spreading this awareness. So we're going to get started by going to Sandbanks and look at the Koaka Foundation.
Here we are in Poole at Sandbanks to discuss a local organisation that helps people live sustainably and make sustainable choices, as well as making them care about the ocean and the coastlines.
This organisation is known as the Koaka Foundation. They are based in Bournemouth and involve the public through litter picks and sharing their sustainable products on social media. The Koaka Foundation have a website which is koaka.co.uk, and they have a sustainable shop on there where they sell things like biodegradable dog poo bags, as well as kitchen towel and bamboo toothbrushes, and they also have a big blog on there where loads of their ambassadors can post about the local area and local litter picks.
An interesting fact about the unusual name of the company is it originated from a Brazilian country named Jericoacoa, where they're 100% sustainable and they live away from the clutters of modern day life. An interesting fact is the place Jericoacoa translates in the Tupi language as the lair of turtles.
Organisations similar to the Koaka Foundation have organised big peaceful protests in the likes of big cities like London, Bournemouth or Southampton, where students have even missed school to go on strike and fight for what's right about our climate. Protests can be very powerful tools, especially across social media because people spread the message. One person can make a great deal of change through a phone screen. Hi, excuse me. Me and my friend are A-level media students and we're doing a documentary on Generation Z and social media. Do you mind if we could ask you a few questions on camera?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so give me a second, Sarah. I just need to get up the questions for you.
Yeah, I've got a busy schedule.
How do you feel social media has impacted the awareness of the climate crisis?
What's that got to do with it?
Do you think our generation has the power to create big change?
Yeah.
What change do you think we could create?
Cancelling Shane Dawson.
And lastly, what do you personally do for the environment?
I recycle.
Anything else?
No, that's about it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now we will be moving on to the environmental interviews and seeing what locals' opinions are on Generation Z and how they think our generation will use social media to create change in the future. How do you feel social media has impacted the awareness of the climate crisis online?
I think it's probably improved it, but I think it's got to be an ongoing kind of process. You can't just sort of hit once and expect everyone to be on board about it. I think it's got to be a constant kind of nag.
I think social media has had a good impact on climate crisis because I wouldn't have known half the information on the climate crisis if it wasn't for social media.
But it's like all these fucking cruise ships, you know, they're destroying our planet and the planes, and I'm thinking this is a golden opportunity. Fuck it.
I think it's been significant. Without social media, most people wouldn't have had a clue what was going on.
I think a lot of people know more about the actual consequences of everything that's going on at the moment. I feel they know a lot more about it because of social media.
Spreading awareness.
Yeah.
So we've got to limit our air travel to maybe one a year and blah 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 blah. I'm totally on board with all that.
Do you think our generation has power to create big change?
Yeah, definitely. I feel as though our generation has definitely had the biggest impact on current issues.
Oh, we do.
Definitely.
We really do.
But
Yeah, I think we do.
It's also up to the people of the generation before us because we don't really have much time to change everything.
They have more power, I think.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely, and I have absolute faith in you guys, okay? I do not have faith in my father's generation, who all they care about is going on 4 cruises a year.
I think that the unique thing is that they've got older people listening and younger people listening and their peers listening, which is quite remarkable, really.
I think we're really good at making things happen, especially recently. There's been loads of protests, even in schools and stuff. We speak up when something's wrong. That's when older generations have messed up. They've just let things slide. And like again, social media, we've definitely like used that to our advantage as well for like speaking out about the climate.
I think you already are. Yes, yes, definitely.
I have absolute faith in your generation.
If you look at things like the Me Too movement and how that's fundamentally shaking people up about women's rights in the workplace, outside the workplace, and taken on by celebrities and people who, you know, get the attention, it's really, really well.
May I ask, what do you personally do for the environment?
I try to buy second-hand clothes when I can, and like from charity shop.
I don't have a car, I walk and I cycle everywhere. I have had a car but I got rid of it, and I don't intend on getting another one, so I think we absolutely have to, our generation then, because I'm over 50, have to lead by example.
I litter pick. I go with my godmum, and we go nearly every weekend, and we go litter picking on sandbanks and Pool Beach.
My family has an electric car and we try to use like
same.
all green power and stuff.
Try to like walk places rather than
Yeah.
use the car and stuff.
So if I can walk everywhere with my achy bones, because I've had 4 kids and I'm kind of, you know, my body's not what it was, if I can do it, then everyone can do it.
What do we do for the environment? As much as we can. So, you know, the household stuff, recycling, all that sort of thing. We only own 1 car, which we attempt to use as little as we possibly can. We live in a town with public transport, so, you know, my daughters just use the train every day. So, for example, in America, which is a country which really needs to get its act together with regards to climate change. It was your generation really that made a huge difference in the last election. Of his office, Joe Biden signed up to the Paris Accord again, and it's moving in the right direction again. So this was specifically about your generation and the difference it makes with climate change. So there's a classic example of how it should make a difference on a worldwide scale.
And I recycle. And I charity shop. Joking, please do not add that bit in.
I will add that in. Thanks, Billy.
That's alright.
Now we've heard of people's opinions to do with how Generation Z uses social media to spread awareness of the environment, I will be sharing some research about Too Good To Go bags and how this helps us live in an increasingly sustainable environment. Now we're going to be looking at a method of stopping so much food waste, known as Too Good To Go bags. Too Good To Go bags is a great method of food waste where people like me, like you, can go onto the app and buy a food bag for like £3-4, and you can save it from being wasted from local places like your local bakery or even Greg's, Costa, and places like that. You can really find a lot of places on the app in bigger cities, but even down here in Dorset you can find a good variety of places who do it. Here I am travelling to Costa to get one of my Too Good To Go bags, and I must say I wasn't the most happy with this one. I got 3 toasties, but they were good toasties and so worth it for my money. And here's another bag that I got a few days later. My friend Sam and I were in Poole and we decided to get one from Greg's, and my Greg's one was quite jam-packed compared to the Costa one. As you can see, I got quite a variety of items. So here we've got a sausage roll, half eaten because I was hungry, and we got 2 caramel donuts which were amazing, and here is a ham and cheese baguette and another baguette which was a chicken club baguette, and I must say this baguette was amazing. So overall, Too Good To Go bags are an amazing idea, especially for foodies like a lot of us. So in conclusion, in this documentary, we have come to a conclusion that Generation Z have a lot of power to do certain things in the future and make certain changes. Go on, mate. We've looked at the environment of social media and how we can make changes through our technology. And although we have a lot of certain issues in our generation and our society, Jamie, please. We can formulate an opinion that Generation Z will be the next generation to make change. Generation X, Generation Y, baby boomers, they all failed to make change. And what's going to happen? We're going to be the generations to make the change. We're going to tackle the climate crisis, and we're going to do something that no other generation has done before. And with that, thank you for sitting through all 40 minutes of my documentary. Goodbye.